Hello and welcome to the July 21st, 2024 episode of Nick's News. I am your host, Nick. We are brought to you by Some Budget Studios. That's right, we finally have some sort of budget for this product of ours. This wonderful thing that we're doing. We're on every other Sunday, usually. And I thank you all so very much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Facebook page or the Nick's News YouTube page. That's right, we're on Facebook, Meta, whatever the hell it's called this week, and we are also on YouTube. We currently are just streaming on Facebook, but between now and the next episode, I am hoping to get dual streaming going so that we will be streaming on both platforms. This is a program dedicated to bringing some joy back into the world to counter... This is a program dedicated to bringing good news to counter all of the bad news that we are bombarded with on a daily basis, with the hope of bringing a bit of joy back into the world. Sorry, I'm a little flustered. We're starting late. I apologize. Several of our articles are pulled from goodnewsnetwork.org, but we also appreciate articles sent in by you, the viewers. So I do apologize that we are starting late. Usually we have a 9 p.m. start time, and I think we're starting off at 9:16. So yeah, we're a little late. I am also a little sunburned. So again, I am sorry for the tardiness of the episode. So, we are up and running on OBS again. We are not on OBS Streamlabs, we're on OBS. I am enjoying it. Everything is running well, it seems. Expect more tech tests between now and the next episode, though, because I do want to get that dual streaming going. I think it's a great idea. I know there's people that do not use Facebook that have approached me and said that, hey, if you do YouTube, we will be able to watch your live streams on YouTube. And I think that's a great idea. So that's what we're going to work on next. We're also going to look into getting a new camera. The current one is really nice. It's a 1080p. It's very good. We are streaming and we are recording in 1080p, and I'm happy about that. But I think we can do better, especially with the software and the hardware that I have in my setup. So that's something else to shoot for. We've got Grayson, who is our wonderful artist, and Donna, who is our producer, in the chat. Good to see both of you. They were helping me get everything set up because I was so flustered with being late, so many thanks. And then earlier, I don't know if people caught it, but it was very interesting. When I had the stream up on both OBS and on Facebook, the encoder problem came back and it was really laggy, and I didn't figure it out until I just closed one of the windows. So I'm glad it seems to be doing better. So, all right, let's get into our broadcast. Enough of me just talking and talking and talking, because I could do that all day. So we're going to start with our news brew. Our news brew is Blended with Lumber number 2. And this is from Timber Ales Brewery. This is a 13.4% high-octane ABV beer. It is an Imperial Stout that is... Oh, I see the cameras doing that thing. It is an Imperial Stout that is... What did they say? It's conditioned on coconut. I'm not quite sure what that means, but we're going to try it out. And yeah, I've had a few of these Timber Ale Stouts, and so far they have been phenomenal. So... hoping this one's going to keep up the streak. And we've got Charlie and Cassidy, who are hanging out together. It's good to see both of you. Thank you for tuning in. So let's crack this open. We don't need the Balisong bottle opener. Get a good crack on that. And we are going to use our Harpoon limited edition snifter, because Imperial Stouts use a snifter. I'm hoping to run a tech test. I'm going to get some blackout curtains. I can see the camera is just continuing to click over. It's anytime I move. And I've been informed... Hey, Tim. I've been informed that it's because of the blinds. I've been informed it's because of the blinds. So I'm going to get some blackout curtains between now and the next episode and throw those up. And we'll do a tech test, and we'll see if that helps. Oh, Kendra and Ed are over there as well. Hello to everybody over there. All right, let's get a 5-minute pour on this wonderful stout. And this is something I noticed from all these stouts. I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up. This stuff pours like motor oil. This beer be thick. This beer is like what comes out of your car after 7,000 miles. Like, my gosh. Oh, just that first little taste. Oh, Timber Ales. Y'all are good. I'll put that right there. That is good. That is a good smell for that beer. We'll get that ready. So, let's get into our shout-outs. So, if you want to, if you're in the West Michigan area, please feel free to join me at Fox Hen Winery on the 27th of July. That's the upcoming Saturday for their fantastic summer celebration. They'll be open from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturday, and they're going to have a Pizza Michigan food truck that will be there from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. They're also going to have live music provided by the Dave and Shawn Show. They play a whole bunch of different songs from like the 40s and all other eras, so I'm really looking forward to it. They'll be showing from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So yeah, if you want to come out and have some great wine and some fantastic cider, swing on by. I'll be there for most of the afternoon. So to Fox and Hen Winery, cheers. T-Rave is also in the chat. Hello, T-Rave. Second shout out is a self shout out. We're on YouTube. Link is in the description. Please feel free to head on over to the Nick's News YouTube page. Check out our recorded episodes. If you feel inclined, I'm not going to tell you to, but if you feel inclined, please like, subscribe, comment on the videos. I want to get this good joy into the algorithm. I don't know how to appease the monster that is the algorithm, but I feel like if we do what other YouTubers are doing, which is liking, subscribing, commenting, it'll start to spread this good news and get this joy back out because, man, we are just bombarded with bad news lately. So to YouTube and the Nick's News YouTube channel, and to producer Donna and Grayson for doing so much work in helping to get the Nick's News YouTube page up. Cheers. This beer is amazing. Last shout out is going to be to one of our Nick's Newsies, Sean. He is one of our resident derailers. He is sadly out right now. He's currently resting, and we wish him a speedy recovery. He just had some normal surgery, nothing going on. I guarantee he's okay, despite the fact that he is from Ontario, Canada. But he's doing well. He's just recovering. So, Sean, I hope for a speedy recovery for you, my friend. Cheers. Hey, Blake. And yes, as producer Donna just said in the chat, any engagement is good engagement. Even if you don't like what we're producing, tell me how to do better. Like, I'm up for criticism. I'm up for constructive criticism and making this a better program. We have some ideas, but we'll get to that. News quote. This one was provided by producer Donna. So thank you very much, producer Donna, for sending this in. Life does not have to be perfect to be wonderful. Too often, many of us might be chasing perfection, or thinking that kind of path, the road to perfection, if it's even attainable, is the route to go, and it's not. It's not. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. And definitely life does not have to be perfect to be wonderful. That is a quote from Annette Joanne Funicello, who was an American actress, singer, and was regarded as one of the most popular Mouseketeers from the original run of the Mickey Mouse Club. She went on to do amazing things in film, in singing, but sadly multiple sclerosis hampered her life and ultimately was her downfall. But before that, she absolutely left her mark on the world. Just an amazing woman. And yeah, life does not have to be perfect to be wonderful. Annette Joanne Funicello and producer Donna, thank you. And with that, I will not dawdle any further. We are going to get into the good news. Now, our show, our presentation, our broadcast is broken up into usually 4 major categories, and those categories are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, those really nice touchy-feely articles that we like to end on. However, we are going to have the magical fifth segment tonight, which is Nick News. Nick News is what is going on either in my own life, be it if it's good news, or if it's good news about Nick's news. So, we are going to have a brief talk, a brief ending article of Nick News at the end. End. So, all right, let's get into Category 1, Science and Technology. This first article was pulled from... actually, this first article was sent in by Eliza. So, Eliza, thank you very much for sending in this article. I called it, you ever see the movie Darkman starring Liam Neeson? And I will copy and paste this in the chat if y'all want to read along. All of our articles as well are in the description of the episodes, so if you ever want to go back and review the articles, the links are in the description. But I'll paste this in the chat, because this is some science fiction right here. Say cheese! Japanese scientists make robot face smile with living skin. Japanese scientists have devised a way to attach living skin tissue to robotic faces and make them smile, in a breakthrough that holds out promise of application in cosmetics and medicine. Researchers at the University of Tokyo grew human skin cells in the shape of a face and pulled it into a wide grin using embedded ligament-like attachments. The result, though eerie, is an important step towards building more lifelike robots, said lead researcher Shogi Takuchi. By attaching these actuators and anchors, it became possible to manipulate living skin for the first time, he added. The smiling robot, featured in a study published online last month by Cell Reports Physical Science, is the fruit of a decade of research by Takuchi and his lab on how to best combine biological and artificial machines. Living tissues has numerous advantages over metals and plastics, Takuchi said, ranging from the energy efficiency of brains and muscles to skin's ability to repair itself. I'm going to scoot up just a little bit. There we go. Looking ahead, the researchers aim to add more elements to the lab-grown skin, including a circulatory system and nerves. That could lead to safer testing platforms for cosmetics and drugs absorbed through the skin. It could also produce more realistic and functional coverings for robots. Still, there remains the challenge of ridding people of the strange and unnerving feelings evoked by machines that fall just short of being entirely convincing, aka the uncanny valley. There's still a bit of that creepiness to it, Takuchi acknowledged about the robot. I think that making robots out of the same materials as humans and having them show the same expressions might be one key to overcoming the uncanny valley. That is bonkers science fiction right there. And something straight out of Darkman with like that artificial skin. I actually really liked that movie. So, all right. So to everybody at the University of Tokyo and to Eliza for sending in this article, cheers. This next one was provided by, actually, you know what? Oh no, my bad. I forgot our article listings. All right, so we're going to bounce out of science and technology. We're going to get into category 2, health and medicine. This article is kind of both, which puts it in a good place. It's primarily health and medicine. And I kind of have a thing where any articles of this nature go in health and medicine because this is cancer. Fuck cancer. So thank you very much, producer Donna, for sending this one in. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Implantable LED device uses light to treat deep-seated cancers. And it looks like a little, almost like a little firefly or a glowworm. It's really interesting to me. Certain types of light have proven to be an effective, minimally invasive treatment for cancers located on or near the skin when combined with a light-activated drug. But deep-seated cancers surrounded by tissue, blood, and bone have been beyond the reach of light's therapeutic effects. And I believe we have done some Nick's News articles that have shown the utilization of light to break up cancer cells and different wavelengths of light. So this is another step in the right direction. Or the bright direction. To bring light's benefits to these harder-to-access cancers, engineers and scientists at the University of Notre Dame have devised a wireless LED device that can be implanted. This device, when combined with a light-sensitive dye, not only destroys cancer cells, but also mobilizes the immune system's cancer-targeting response. The research appears in photodiagnosis and photodynamic therapy. Certain colors of light penetrate tissue deeper than other ones, said Thomas O'Sullivan, Associate Professor of Electrical Engineering and co-author on the paper. It turns out that the kind of light, in this case green, that doesn't penetrate as deeply has the capability of producing a more robust response against the cancer cells. Before the light can be effective in destroying cancer cells, a dye with light-absorbing molecules must be administered to the cells. The device turns on, the dye transfers the light into energy, and that energy makes the cell's own oxygen toxic, in effect turning the cancer cells against themselves. While other treatments also weaponize the cell's own oxygen, this device causes a particularly serendipitous form of cell death. Working together, biochemistry graduate student Haley Sanders and electrical engineering graduate student Sung-Hoon Roh perceptively noted that the treated cells were swelling, which is the hallmark of a kind of cell death, pyroptosis, that's particularly good at triggering the immune response, said Bradley Smith, the Emil T. Hoffman Professor of Science and co-author of the paper. Our goal is to induce just a little bit of pyroptotic. These science words. Our goal is to induce just a little bit of pyroptotic cell death, which will then trigger the immune system to start attacking the cancer. In future studies, the device will be used in mice to see whether the cancer-killing response initiated in one tumor will prompt the immune system to identify and attack another cancerous tumor on its own. So kind of like, can we get a domino effect or a chain reaction going where once we've primed the immune system to recognize this tumor, it goes after that tumor. That would be fantastic. Anything where we're utilizing our own immune system and just bulking that up is, I feel like, a step in the right direction, but, it's all, I'm an engineer. I'm not a medical, I'm not in the medical field by any means, so. O'Sullivan noted that the device, which is the size of a grain of rice, can be injected directly into a cancerous tumor and activated remotely by an external antenna. The goal is to use the device not only to deliver treatment, but also to monitor the tumor's response, adjusting signal strength and timing as needed. That is a really cool article. To everybody at the University of Notre Dame and to producer Donna for sending in that article, cheers. What do we got next? This next one was from Cassidy. So Cassidy, thank you very much for sending this one in. I called this one 100% efficacy because that right there, that's huge. So I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. I know we're going a little bit quick. It's just because we started late. And that's my bad. New HIV prevention drug shows 100% efficacy in clinical trial. A large clinical trial in South Africa and Uganda has shown that a twice-yearly injection of a new pre-exposure prophylaxis drug gives young women total protection from HIV infection. I didn't realize that one rhymed. I need to pre-read my articles. The trial tested whether the 6-month injection of lenacapavir would provide better protection against HIV infection than 2 other drugs, which are both daily pills. All 3 medications are pre-exposure prophylaxis or PrEP PrEP drugs. Physician-scientist Linda Gale Becker principal investigator for the South African part of the study, tells Nadine Dreyer that what makes this breakthrough so significant and what to expect next. The Purpose 1 trial with 5,000 participants took place at 3 sites in Uganda and 25 sites in South Africa to test the efficacy of lenacapavir and 2 other drugs. Lenacapavir, also known as Len-LA, is a fusion capsid inhibitor. It interferes with the HIV capsid, which is the protein shell that protects the HIV's genetic material, and the enzymes that are needed for replication. So it's kind of like the armor around the cell, or around the virus. It is administered just under the skin once every 6 months. The randomized controlled trial, sponsored by the drug developers Gilead Sciences, tested several things. The first was whether a 6-monthly injection of lenacapavir was safe and would provide better protection against HIV infection as PrEP for women between the ages of 16 and 25 years than Truvada FTDF, which is a daily PrEP pill in wide use that has been available for more than a decade. So for a long time, this Truvada has been used, but it's a daily pill. So to keep its, to maintain its strength, you're taking it on a daily basis. Whereas lenacapavir is just a 6-month injection. Secondly, the trial also tested whether Descovy FTAF, a newer daily pill, was as effective as FTDF. The newer FTAF has superior pharmacokinetic properties to FTDF. Pharmacokinetic just sounds like it punches harder, but I know it's wrong. Pharmacokinetic refers to the movement of a drug into, through, and out of the body. FTAF is a smaller pill and is in use among men and transgender women in high-income countries. The trial had 3 arms. Young women were randomly assigned to one of the arms in a 2-to-1 ratio. Len-LA, FTAF oral, FTDF oral, in a double-blinded fashion. So basically, your run-of-the-mill double-blind experiment, but we're utilizing 3 different drugs. This means neither the participants nor the researchers knew which treatment participants were receiving until the clinical trial was over. In Eastern and Southern Africa, young women are the population who bear the brunt of new HIV infections. They also find a daily PrEP regimen challenging to maintain for a number of social and structural reasons. During the randomized phase of the trial, none of the 2,134 women who received lenacapavir contracted HIV. There was 100% efficacy. 100% efficiency. By comparison, 16 of the 1,068 women, or 1.5%, who took Truvada, the FTDF, and 39 of the 2,136, or 1.8%, of the women who received Descovy, the FTAF, did contract the HIV virus. The results at a recent Independent Data Safety Monitoring Board review led to the recommendation that the trial's blinded phase should be stopped and all participants should be offered a choice of PrEP. So basically telling them, we need to let them choose now. And I guarantee they're all probably going to choose lenacapavir. Because, it's 100% efficiency. Nobody contracted HIV during its use. It's kind of a no-brainer. This board is an independent committee of experts who are put in place at the start of a clinical trial. They see the unblinded data at stipulated times during the trial to monitor progress and safety. They ensure that a trial does not continue if there is harm or a clear benefit in one arm over others. This breakthrough gives great hope that we have a proven highly effective prevention tool to protect people from HIV. There were 1.3 million new HIV infections globally in the past year. Although that's fewer than the 2 million infections that were seen in 2010, it is clear that at this rate, we are not going to meet the HIV new infection target that UNAIDS set for 2025, which was fewer than 500,000 globally, or potentially even the goal to end AIDS by 2030. That's right, UNAIDS does have a goal to end the AIDS epidemic, to end AIDS entirely by 2030. And that is through the push of new medications, new tools, new processes. We're on a good path, but we may not make that goal. PrEP is not the only prevention tool. PrEP should be provided alongside HIV self-testing, access to condoms, screening and treatment for sexually transmitted infections, and access to contraception for women of childbearing potential. In addition, young men should be offered medical male circumcision for health reasons. But despite these options, we haven't quite got to the point where we have been able to stop new infections, particularly among young people. For young people, the daily decision to take a pill or use a condom or take a pill at the time of sexual intercourse can be very challenging. HIV scientists and activists hope that young people may find that having to make this prevention decision only twice a year may reduce unpredictability and barriers. For a young woman who struggles to get an appointment at a clinic in a town or who can't keep pills without facing stigma or violence, an injection just twice a year is the option that could keep her free of HIV. Frankly, I think this injection should be given to, if it is found to be completely safe. I get why the target right now is for women because they are bearing the brunt of the new infections. But, I mean, at the end of the day, start giving it to everybody. Because if this is going to cut down HIV, just start cutting down HIV. And it takes two to tango. The plan is that the Purpose 1 trial will go on, but now in an open label phase. This means that study participants will be unblinded. They will be told whether they have been in the injectable or oral TDF or oral TAF groups. They will be offered the choice of PrEP they would prefer as the trial continues. A sister trial is also underway. Purpose 2 is being conducted in a number of regions, including some sites in Africa among cisgender men and transgender and non-binary people who have sex with men. It's important to conduct trials among different groups because we have seen differences in effectiveness. Whether the sex is anal or vaginal is important and may have an impact on effectiveness. If we were monetized, this video would be demonetized pretty quick, but whatever. It's news. It's science. It's health and medicine. We've read in Gilead Science's press statement that within the next couple of months, the company will submit the dossier with all the results to a number of country regulators, particularly the Ugandan and South African regulators. The World Health Organization will also review the data and may issue recommendations. We hope then that this new drug will be adopted into WHO and country guidelines. We also hope we may begin to see the drug being tested in more studies to understand how to incorporate it into real-world settings. Price is a critical factor to ensure access and distribution in the public sector, where it is badly needed. Gilead Sciences has said it will offer licenses to companies that make generic drugs, which is another critical way to get the prices down. In an ideal world, governments will be able to purchase this affordability, and it will be offered to all who want it and need protection against HIV. A little bit long-winded, but a fantastic article from Cassidy. So everybody that's at Gilead Sciences and is working on this drug that was found to be 100%, to have 100% efficacy against HIV, and to Cassidy for sending it in. Cheers. Ooh, wrong button. Ooh, all the wrong buttons. I just whacked all the wrong buttons in quick succession. And my laptop was like, why you do that? Why you do that? My bad. All right, so that's going to get us out of health and medicine. We are going to bounce into category 3, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals. Oh, I called this first one the Crocodile Comeback. And I will copy and paste this in the chat if y'all want to read along. This one was from goodnewsnetwork.org. A record hatch for near-extinct Siamese crocodiles signals a croc comeback. In Cambodia, 60 eggs were found in the nest of one of the world's most endangered large reptiles, which, after hatching, set a new record for an international conservation effort to save them. It was believed the Siamese crocodile, with the distinct bony crest running down its skull, was extinct in the wild until it was rediscovered in 2000. Almost all of the 400 animals remaining live in Cambodia. And that's it. Just Cambodia. A network of private-public partnerships have been organizing conservation measures to protect the species, including captive breeding and reintroduction programs under their own and village patrols to ensure their nests and habitat are not tampered with. Hi, Julie. Julie has just checked into the chat. It's very kind of you to help drive Doug. Oh, from helping Doug. My bad. I misread that. In May, locals in the Cardamom Mountains found a nesting site in an area that crocodiles hadn't been released, suggesting they are expanding and breeding under their own power, which is a tremendous sign for the species' recovery. The hatching of 60 new crocodiles is a tremendous boost, said Pablo Sinovas, who leads the Cambodia program of conservation group Fauna and Flora International, which has been running a captive breeding program since 2012. They've successfully reintroduced 196 crocs back into the wild, and it was they who deployed a team of conservationists to the nest site found in May for round-the-clock care and observation until every last one of the 60 eggs hatched, bringing their precious cargo into the world. Generally speaking, for crocodile species, the mothers are very attentive beasts, and even the fathers will help raise young if the mother isn't around. When hatching, the little crocs emerge from the creche of eggs chirping, calling the mother in, who then excavates the nest and takes any unhatched eggs in her mouth, rolling them around to speed up the hatching process. The young are carried to the water in the mother's mouth, where she will watch over, feed, and care for them until the next mating season. Despite this motherly love, baby crocs have a very high mortality rate from predation. So, this is really cool, though, to see a species bouncing back, especially after we thought that we'd, completely destroyed it in the wild. So to Siamese crocodiles and to all of these organizations combined that have seen them make a resurgence, cheers. This next one is our obligatory cat article. This one was sent in by Eliza. I was very torn on where to put this, if it was going to go into wholesome notes or if it was going to go into flora and fauna. I figured out I've got a lot of wholesome notes, so it wound up in flora and fauna. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all would like to read along. Nashville firefighter rescues kitten trapped in a storm drain. It was a typical Saturday at a fitness class when all of a sudden there was a commotion outside. Turns out the commotion was a kitten trapped beneath a grate in the city's storm drain. A passing jogger called it in, and the Nashville Fire Department showed up to try to untrap the frightened kitten. As you can imagine, that was no easy task. But eventually, the fire crews got him with the help of Jack Latinsky and his co-workers. But the story doesn't end there. The passing jogger adopted the kitten and gave it a name, Jack, after the firefighter who rescued him. That's awesome that little Jack is out there and running around and in a safe home, Latinsky said. Latunsky is a recruit to the National Fire Department who just graduated from the academy. Oh, darn, the beer must be getting to me. From the academy in January. And there is a post. Here's a great story that proves everyone has something to... Oh, wait, nope, that's a whole different article. Never mind. Yeah, short little article, but a really good one, and really kind of a wholesome note of its own in the flora and fauna section. To Jack Latinsky, firefighter out of Nashville, and to the jogger who adopted the kitten, little Jack, and to Eliza for sending in that article. Cheers to you all. I called this next one, This App Is All the Buzz. This one was sent in by Cassidy. Thank you very much, Cassidy, for sending this one in. I did have to look up an alternative website, though, because the one that was sent sadly stopped working. I'm not sure why they would take down such a cool article, but I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. There it goes. To save the bees, a Kansas scientist is building an app to identify thousands of species. Just a few decades ago, bee enthusiasts across much of North America could count on spotting one of the continent's most common bumblebee species buzzing from flower to flower. Today, the American bumblebee is in trouble. Its numbers have dropped sharply, and it has vanished entirely from large swaths of its range. Yet the fact that biologists even know of this pollinator's plight marks a key step toward helping it, because population trends steer conservation efforts. Ain't that the truth? By contrast, scientists remained in the dark about how most of the other estimated 4,000 bee species in North America are handling habitat loss, pesticides, global warming, and other challenges. A new smartphone app that I'm going to download called Bee Machine harnesses artificial intelligence to tackle a key hurdle to figuring this out. Right now, experts struggle to tell many species apart. One of the first jobs that I ever had was identifying macroinvertebrates that live in the water, aka bugs and other different species that live in waterways. And yeah, taxonomic identification can be difficult. You are sometimes looking at a specimen under a microscope and you are trying to figure out if it has 5 or 7 gills on one side of its body, and even that can be a struggle. So identifying different bee species, I'm not surprised that there's a lot of difficulty. Especially when we have 4,000 of them flying around in North America. It's a huge problem, said entomologist Brian Speisman, the app's creator and a professor at Kansas State University. We bring back a few hundred specimens from fieldwork, and we spend much longer identifying them in the lab than we do actually collecting them. Ain't that the truth? Bee ecologists mail tricky specimens. Many specimens are nearly identical and tiny as gnats to specialized taxonomists. Yeah, bee species can range from as tiny as a period on a piece of paper to as large as bumblebees and mason bees. But these taxonomists are in short supply, so Speisman and his collaborators are training artificial intelligence to help. As an added bonus, the app lets the public participate in documenting bees, too, by snapping photos when they spot one. I take a hike every other day, or sometimes every day, through a really nice nature conservation area, and there are bees everywhere. I'm going to grab this app, and I'm just going to be running around like it's my Pokemon Go, just taking pictures of bees. This type of citizen science has the potential to get more eyes out there citing bees than any single study could ever hope for, Speisman said. Better tools for crowdsourcing are really important. The public sightings can offer valuable intel on which bees live where. In the Midwest, for example, a hiker wandering trails or a gardener scouting their flower beds could find a southern plains bumblebee or an American bumblebee, both of which are currently under review by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for potential listings as threatened or endangered. A separate project from Cornell University, eBird, has already proven the power of large-scale public participation by turning passionate bird watchers into a wellspring of data for avian research and conservation efforts. So far, Bee Machine can distinguish between more than 350 kinds of bees at the species or genus level. The goal, teaching it to identify all of the estimated 20,000 bee species worldwide. That will require international collaboration, though, because Speisman and his colleagues need high-quality photos of accurately identified specimens to train Bee Machine. Speisman and his colleagues corral photographs from museums and other reliable sources around the world. They've taken thousands of images themselves and have pulled others from international projects such as the Global Biodiversity Information Facility, a multi-government funded online repository of species data. That's really cool. Natural history museums hold a treasure trove of specimen collections that have already undergone painstaking identification. Those specimens let Bee Machine correctly learn the minutiae of tricky species, Yet getting images of these specimens remains a challenge. It can require a lot of specimens handling and imaging work. Museum staff often don't have the time to pull specimens and definitely don't have time to photograph them for us unless we have an existing collaboration that is already funded, Speisman said. As Bee Machine grows and gets smarter, it has the potential to collect and accurately identify sightings on every continent and make the information available to researchers globally. Already, the project partners with data collection efforts in Japan and Argentina. For example, ultimately, Speisman hopes that Bee Machine will let scientists identify more bees in the field without needing to kill the creatures and scrutinize them under microscopes. Researchers could, for example, aim a camera at a flower and leave it there to gather images of foraging pollinators for Bee Machine to analyze. So far, data gathered by Bee Machine isn't viewable online, but that will change soon. Likely this month. Users will be able to view each other's sightings on the project's website. That's an awesome feature. Popular naturalist apps such as Seek do a good job of identifying the largest and most common bees, but Speisman said ecologists need a more powerful tool to tell apart the many tiny, near-identical species that exist. We are not replacing taxonomists at the rate that they are retiring, he said. Taxonomy requires specialized expertise and rigor. Taxonomists say their field is widely underappreciated and misunderstood, exacerbating the shortage of professionals. Whew. How many bees exist, though? About 90% of plants can't reproduce through wind pollination. They depend on animals to do the work, and bees rank among the most popular of pollinators. Yet bees remain as mysterious as they are important. Scientists are still figuring out how many species of them exist. Estimates vary, but they commonly range around 20,000 worldwide and 4,000 alone in North America. That staggering biodiversity is typical of invertebrates. For comparison, North America has fewer than 500 mammal species, and yet we may have just 4,000 bee species flying around. But what scientists know so far skews toward bigger species that are easier to observe and identify. Thousands of small bee species remain poorly understood. Case in point, about 40% of the bee species assessed so far by the International Union for Conservation of Nature are bumblebees. This is despite the fact that bumblebees constitute a tiny sliver of the bee universe. Sorry, this article has just got me going on and on and on. Based on the documented plight of some of the world's best studied bees, though, scientists worry that their smaller counterparts could struggle too. Habitat loss and climate change have hit many insects very hard. Insecticides inadvertently poison beneficial pollinators, and herbicides lead to fewer wildflowers on many farms. Microscopic parasites spread to wild bee species from infected European honeybee hives that people ferry from region to region to pollinate crops. Introduced honeybees compete for food in areas without enough to go around, and wild native bees face undernourishment. On some other continents, introduced bumblebees cause similar problems for native pollinators. So as much as we love honeybees and bumblebees, there is a lot to note that they are invasive species sometimes. Yeah, I was guessing. Cassidy just stated in the chat that she thinks that the article that she knows the article she sent in was much shorter. And I was looking for a replacement. Everything I found had the same text, and I thought, oh, okay, it's a little run-on-y, but it's bees. I love bees. I love entomology, so yeah. So this was a great article. Thank you very much, Cassidy, for sending it in. And I'm definitely going to download this app. Let me find its name one more time. Bee Machine. I am going to download Bee Machine, and I'm going to take a bunch of pictures to Brian Speisman and everybody at the Kansas State University trying to work on this global taxonomic program. And to Cassidy for sending in that article. Cheers. I gotta wet my whistle. Alright, so that bumps us out of flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and sends us into category 4, the wholesome notes. And we've got some really good wholesome notes. This first one was sent in by Eliza. So Eliza, thank you very much for sending this one in. I called it No Limits, and I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Camp No Limits empowers kids with limb loss. No matter what, you can do anything you set your mind to. That's what Camp No Limits proves to children with limb loss. Eyewitness News went to Quinnipiac University, where a summer camp is changing lives. 20 campers are letting loose, moving and grooving. This Energizer activity is only the beginning of each camper's day. We've had a lot of sports. We did sled hockey, wheelchair basketball. There is a gym we spend time in, running and biking, said Aaron Justice. It's a packed schedule, but one that 18-year-old Aaron loves. After 3 years as a camper, he's transitioned to a volunteer. It's nice being here helping others rather than being helped, Aaron said. Aaron is paying it forward. He said Camp No Limits is what got him to this confident place. The first year was definitely the hardest because I could barely walk with my prosthetic, and now I can do pretty much everything I could before, said Aaron. At 15, Aaron was diagnosed with osteosarcoma. Doctors recommended amputating his leg. It was a twist of fate many other mentors and volunteers can relate to. The earthquake started and the whole building fell on me, and I was buried for so many hours I thought it wasn't the end of I thought it was the end of the world, said Jazz Carolus, who is also a mentor. Jazz lost her leg at 14 years old during an earthquake in Haiti. That's when I found out I was in such bad condition they had to bring me to the United States, and that's when I found out they had to cut off my leg, Jazz said. Two different people with different stories, but now both Aaron and Jazz are helping children navigate life without a limb. Camp No Limits is in 11 locations nationwide. Quinnipiac University hosts the 4-day camp in Connecticut. Occupational therapy students get to take what they've learned into the classroom to the campers. Or what they've learned in the classroom to the campers. Typically, anyone with an upper extremity, limb loss, or limb difference, they come and we do a ton of fun things. Usually we show different adaptive ways to put your hair in a ponytail or cut an apple on a cutting board, said Emma Gatz with the Masters of Occupational Therapy program. Emma said at the end of just 4 days you see a night and day difference in each camper's confidence. There's something so special that happens in this building. I couldn't even explain to you how special it is, Emma said. And that is really cool. A very engaging and empowering camp for kids who have suffered the loss of a limb. Big thank you to Eliza for sending in that article, and to everybody at Camp No Limits. Cheers. This next one was sent in by Ed. Thank you very much, Ed, for sending this one in. I called it, "This is not Mr. Beast clickbait." But I will copy and paste this in the chat for you all to read along. Mr. Beast's Team C's project smashes goal by removing 34 million pounds of trash from the ocean. YouTube star Mr. Beast revealed that his Team C's initiative has successfully removed over 34 million pounds of trash from the ocean since the campaign first started in 2021. In October, Mr. Beast kicked off October of 2021. Mr. Beast kicked off the Team C's project, which is an endeavor designed with the goal of raising $30 million to remove 30 million pounds of trash from the world's oceans. In January of 2022, Mr. Beast and fellow YouTuber Mark Rober and the Team C's squad revealed that they'd met their donation goal of $30 million, and now, over 2 years later, their dream of cleaning up the sea has become a reality. On July 16th, Mr. Beast announced that Team Seas has finally completed its long-term goal, successfully removing 34,080,191 pounds of trash from oceans across the globe. He revealed it in a post on X. As of today, all 34,000 pounds of trash from Team Seas has been removed from the ocean and verified by a third party. The influencer also stated that this number had been verified by a third party, blowing past their initial number by over 4 million pounds, thanks to their partnered organizations, the Ocean Cleanup and Ocean Conservancy. Back in 2021, Mr. Beast kicked off the initiative in a huge way, enlisting a slew of other high-profile creators to make videos advertising for Team Seas, and even getting the help of major figures like EDM artist Tiesto and Zedd and billionaire Austin Russell to shout out the project. Within months, Team Seas raised the amount of money necessary to get trash-cleaning robots, volunteer organizations, and more to help clean up human waste from the world's biggest bodies of water. This massive victory follows another initiative from Mr. Beast, Team Trees, where the YouTuber aimed to plant 20 million trees before 2020, another goal that he successfully smashed. Donaldson didn't do it alone. He had the help of a slew of volunteers and other activists who pitched in alongside his partnered ORGs to make the world a cleaner place, $1 at a time. Mr. Beast is known for his charitable endeavors, having paid for people's cataract surgeries, funding their cochlear implants, and even helping build homes for unhoused individuals in Jamaica. This latest news comes just after Donaldson became the first YouTuber to reach 30 million subscribers, and published his biggest video to date. It's Mr. Beast's world, and we're just living in it, and there's no telling what he's got up his sleeve for his next big project. Ed, thank you very much for sending that in. For everybody involved with the Team Seas initiative, and to Mr. Beast for pushing it in the first place, cheers. I watch a lot of YouTubers and only a couple of influencers, and like this guy is one that I can watch constantly and just... You can be entertained by the fun stunt videos that they do. 100 YouTubers battling it out for $1 million for one of their fans was one of the latest ones. Or the bunch of guys and gals holding their hand on a building and they get it if they win or whatever. But it's really looking at the charitable work that he does behind the scenes. And yeah, it's sensationalized a little bit. The cataracts one was a video, but it's also good news. Like, this is really good news, and the stuff that he's doing too is bringing crazy joy to the world. Cleaning up 34 million pounds of trash from the ocean by, pushing funding and organizing this endeavor, that's just good news. So, thanks, Mr. Beast. And thanks, Ed. That was a good article. This last one is funny. This is straight up funny. Cassidy sent this one in. I gave it the title, Abracadabra, Hocus Pocus. These rollerblades are not a jocus. And the reason that I'm putting this one at the end is because it's from where I live. It's local. Yes, Derek in the chat just reminded us that Mr. Beast also did help create water sources for people in different places of Africa that were suffering from drought and for difficulty in acquiring water. That was another one of his charitable works. So I'm going to post this article in the chat if y'all want to read along. A little bit about me. I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and apparently... Rollerblading wizard charms downtown Grand Rapids. Now, I have not seen the wizard yet, but I will be on the lookout. From Charlie, Ed says, "You're welcome, random citizen." All right. Rollerblading wizard charms downtown Grand Rapids. There's a mythical character charming Grand Rapids. Not many know his identity, but he's becoming quite the local celebrity. I've been rollerblading for a few years, maybe about 15 or 16, he said. Though the rollerblading is impressive, that's not the part that has passerbys doing a double take. It's the beard, gown, and pointy hat that draw attention. The mysterious rollerblading wizard has been making magic on the streets of downtown Grand Rapids for years, and I've never seen him. I've lived here for a while. I'm just out here doing quests, casting spells, said Mr. Wiz. My wand is passed down to me among the hundreds of years in my family, all the different generations. It comes from my cousin, Gandalf. There's no spell on his skates, though. He's self-taught. I'm 347 years old, so I've had a lot of time to practice. The wizard is gaining popularity, but his speed makes him difficult to capture, leaving many to wonder, did I just see what I think I saw? I get a bunch of mixed reactions, Mr. Wiz said. Most people have fun with it. Most of his time is spent gaining quest points, but on occasion he takes advantage of the other events Grand Rapids has to offer. I love when the festivals are going on. There's so many people, music festivals. I love seeing the different crowds that show up, the rollerblading wizard said. Mr. Wiz typically rides 3 days a week. In the summer, full wizard attire can get pretty hot, so he often goes out in the morning or evening. His favorite time to ride is around Halloween. I'm going to be keeping an eye out for him. People have more fun with it, I think. It makes a little bit more sense, maybe, he said, but I go year-round, whenever I have an excuse. Though some question his career choice, Mr. Wiz said he just wants to bring joy to others and himself. And that right there is why it is the wholesome note of the night. He just wants to bring joy to others and himself. There it is. Charlie says, blading in the streets, wizard in the sheets. My dad wants me to get a real job making potions at his apothecary, but you know what? I'm having fun, so I'm going to keep on the grind. So if you frequent West Michigan, keep an eye out in the morning and the evening for the rollerblading wizard. That is fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. All right, so if you've made it this far, you only have a little bit longer to go. We have wrapped up all of our articles, but we are going to get into the magical category 5, Nick News. And again, as stated at the beginning, Nick News is good news about either my life that I feel like I really want to get out, or it's good news about Nick's news. And what we have tonight is some, what I feel is good news about Nick's news. Way back when I first started doing this, when I was, I think, a freshman in college for the second time, effectively, I was doing this every week. There's that much good news that can be found and harnessed and provided and disseminated into the world, either through goodnewsnetwork.org or articles that were found by others. And I want to get back to that. So, our next episode is going to come out, is going to be on August 4th. And we are going to go weekly after that. Every Sunday or Monday, if I have to push a Nick's News off, it will always go to the Monday that would follow. But we are going to go to weekly Nick's News. I have been sent in enough articles by all of you, the viewers, or I find enough on my own to do it. We're going to cut things down a little bit. These tend to run long. When I've been uploading them to YouTube, most of the episodes right now have been an hour. So we're going to cut down how many articles we go through. It's probably going to be 1 per category, maybe 2, and maybe for sure 2 wholesome notes. But it's going to allow us to produce more episodes and get more joy going. Instead of the wait to get to the next episode, waiting a whole 2 weeks, you're just going to be waiting for the next Sunday to roll around. And you can tune in either on Facebook or on YouTube, or you can catch the replay on either site. So long as you catch it and so long as you can, if you get some joy out of it, or you can spread that joy by learning something new, That's what matters. We're trying to combat all of the bad news that we are bombarded with on a daily basis, and man, do we need it more than ever now. There is so much going on in the world that can really wear us all down. And so I feel like now is as good a time as ever to just ramp things up. So Nick's News is going to go to weekly. Our next episode will be on August 4th, and we will be weekly after that. So hopefully between now and then, I'm going to get the dual streaming working, and that'll make things a lot easier. So if you have any thoughts, comments, concerns, you can email somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. You can post it to the Nick's News page. You can put the comments on this video on the YouTube page, however you feel. I always appreciate criticism, constructive criticism. So however you're feeling, we'll go with it. But yeah, we're going to go weekly on Nick's News. So that's about it. That is all the news that I have for tonight. Thank you all very much. This was great. This was a good episode, even though I started a little late. And so thank you all again for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News Facebook page or the YouTube page. We're live. We're going to be going live every Sunday, starting with our next broadcast on August 4th. I encourage participation, so if you feel inclined, you can message us and post suggestions for news brews, shout outs, news quotes, and especially those good news articles that you find that we can have on future episodes. I appreciate a variety of articles that are sent in across our 4 categories, and a reminder that those categories are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the really nice articles we like to end on. You can either message us here on Facebook to the Nick's News Facebook page, or you can email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. Links in the descriptions. And yeah, feel free to like, subscribe, or comment on our Facebook and YouTube videos if you want to. I'm not going to tell you to, but it does... we got to somehow appease the algorithm. I don't know how it works. I know liking, subscribing, and commenting is the way to go. So if you feel inclined, please do so and help us to spread joy into the algorithm. So, yeah, that's about it. As always, thank you again. I love you all. Have a great night, and I'll play us out.